that's kind of important. Remember that. When we go to the next one, which is revenue. So basically, and this is only showing that portion of revenue that's premium conversion. It's $5 a month or $45 a year. And so every month, some people decide to pay and some people stop paying. So here's what that looks like. That top curve, the top graph is the March of 2008 cohort. So this is the one you saw before. The top one shows the retention. The bottom one shows the revenue from that cohort over the same period of time, just from that cohort per month. So what you see is, in the beginning, so we had this is about 10,000 people, right? About 11,000 people. So when we first started charging money over here, these 11,000 people contributed about $300 total per month in June of 2008. But now, last month, the same exact 11,000 people actually contributed more than $8,000 per month in April, or whatever month just ended. So every month, the longer you use it, the more valuable it gets. And since the long-term retention is flat and the conversion goes up, what you see is the longer the cohort stays, the more valuable they become. So when you line this graph up, you get your traditional Silicon Valley hockey stick. This is the monthly revenue from premium accounts. And the top of the curve shows you the actual total revenue per month. And you can see the nice shape there. And it's exponential. And it's exponential because every month you get a tiny little bit of revenue from people who just signed up. So this little green square here is revenue from people who just signed up last month. But then every previous cohort gets a little bit wider. Every single one. So every month you get a little bit of new stuff, and you get a slight widening of every previous cohort. Now, at some point, this will level out, starting with the older cohorts, because people will die, whatever, we'll get a saturation point. I mean, it's always funny when people die, obviously, but it's actually a serious part of the business model because we were talking about, like, we want people to use Evernote for life. So we actually model it out. Like, we actually take, mortality rates into our lifetime computations because that's our whole point. So we run this out for like 20 years. But every month, every cohort contributes more and more revenue. And so the top is exponential, right, because it's compounded. So what you see is, and what Adeo was saying when we started raising money, we had a really hard time. We were raising money in 2008. The economy was horrible. We didn't really have any traction. It was tough to do it until we sort of figured this out. Once we figured this out and we could show this, it became much easier. And we were just like here when we started talking to VCs with this model. And like this was good enough. Like the model, like up to here, was enough to get multiple term sheets. And then, of course, since then, it's also done pretty well. So what you see is, you see the older cohorts actually become more valuable. So this one is really small in terms of number of users, but it's contributing almost as many dollars as much larger cohorts later on, just because these people have been around for so long that many of them are premium. So your users, they're kind of like a nice wine or like a stinky cheese, as it ages, it actually gets better. A lot of the people that wouldn't pay leave. And a lot of people that stay wind up paying. So even though there's no hard sell and you can use Evernote forever for free, a much larger percentage winds up converting, and you get this hockey stick. And there's three differences between this and the hockey sticks that you usually see in Silicon Valley business plans. Three things that I like about it. The first one is that it's mine, which is good. The second one is that this is not a projection. Most hockey sticks are projections. This is not a projection. This is the past 2 years of historical measured fact. And the third one is that what's being measured here is dollars. This isn't squishy. This isn't eyeballs. This isn't some kind of loyalty. This isn't users. This is dollars. So this is a business model working, or at least the first part of it. So this is the conversion rate. This is the part that no freemium company will tell you, no matter how many times you ask. So I'm telling you. I don't know why. This is our conversion rate. So this top chart is the percentage of people that convert by cohort age. So in the first month, only 0.5% convert. So only 0.5% of everyone we signed up pays in the first month. But the longer they use it, it gets under their skin. After a year, it's 2%. After 2 years, which is all the data we have, it's about 8%. So 8% of everyone who signed up 2 years ago is currently paying. But the bottom chart is even more meaningful because remember that of the people who signed up for 2 years ago, 70% aren't with us anymore. We just have those those long-term users, which are only 30 to 40% of the total. So if you do the conversion as a percentage of active users, 0.5% in the first month, After a year, it's already 8%. And after 2 years, it's 20%. So 20% of everyone who signed up to Evernote 2 years ago, who still used us last month, paid us $5, which is a huge rate, especially since, again, we could be profitable with the right scale at about 1%. And that's all with very little selling. We don't have a sales force. We don't really try. We don't try to convince people to convert. It's just use it for long enough. It's a great product. You're along on the journey with us. The more you like it, the more likely you are to convert. And when we survey people who have converted, and we say, why did you convert? There's all sorts of features, but the number one answer is just because I love Evernote. So the biggest statistical predictor is how long people have been using it, again, to the point where you are 8 times more likely to convert after a year than you are in the first month. So getting close to the end here, and again, sorry, this is very dense statistical stuff, but